October is National Disability Employment Awareness Month, aimed to raise awareness of employment issues among people with disabilities. In its honor, Pride Industries launched a one-of-a-kind employment helpline for people with disabilities and other barriers to employment. Now, to tell us more about the helpline, we're joined by Matt Anderson, the Vice President of Inclusive Talent Solutions. Matt, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Now, explain to us what Pride Industries does and how it helps people here in the Bay Area.
Pride Industries is a $400 million nonprofit that helps people with disabilities to get employment. We win contracts. We have three different kind of lines of business. So we're doing federal facilities, commercial facilities. And when you think facilities, it could be electricians, plumbers, a lot of trades jobs. And then we do manufacturing logistics contracts. And then we also have staffing services with Inclusive Talent Solutions, where we help large national employers to hire more people with disabilities. And then in addition to all that, we provide services. So we're helping people to get ready for employment, get matched to a good job, and then be successful once they're in that job. And that's why we launched the helpline.
With disabilities face when they're actually trying to find a job?
I'm sorry, what was that?
I'm saying what kind of challenges do people with disabilities face when they are in the job searching mode, when they're looking for a job? What challenges do they kind of encounter?
There's probably several of them. One of them is probably some stigmas that exist out there in the workplace. So making sure that you help to have an inclusive environment for them. Setting them up for success. And when you think disabilities, there's all kinds of different types of disabilities, invisible, some you can see, some you can't, and really matching people up to a place where they're going to be successful.
And the term disability covers a lot of various conditions, as you mentioned. Some you can see, some you can't. Can you share how diverse Pride Industries, the workforce is there?
Yeah, so Pride started out of a basement of a church with two parents that just wanted their kids to have a job and the power of purpose and a paycheck. And that was really the focus of helping people with intellectual or developmental disabilities. And as we've grown throughout the last 55 years, we help all disabilities. So we're placing, we have a lot of veterans on a lot of our contracts where maybe they have a disability related to time they served. There's people maybe that might be low vision. There could be hearing impairments. There's tons that are invisible that you wouldn't even know that could be related to some sort of disease that somebody has. There's just several different types of disabilities that are out there. And we try to help all that huge range of people.
Now, obviously, an inclusive workforce is something that, I think every company should strive for. But what are the benefits of an inclusive workforce?
Yeah, and I think it's really got a lot of legs in the last couple of years of people really focused on being more inclusive with their workforces. It's the right thing to do, but it's also there's good business benefits to it, especially when you're thinking about people with disabilities. Sure, there's some financial benefits like a WOTC tax credit, but there's also a lot of business benefits. Longer retention is proven over and over again. We have lots of case studies within our own sites and with customers where we place. Accenture did a really big report on companies that are placing and hiring people with disabilities on actually have better profit margins and better revenue. We have lots of case studies throughout the years too, where you're finding that your people are more engaged when you're hiring people with disabilities. And then there's all kinds of ingenuity that comes. Amazon, Walgreens, when they first started their programs, they may have done something that may have been seen as a small accommodation for somebody with a disability, but it actually was something that everybody benefited from. And we find that time and time again on our own contracts where we might do something and then the person next to them that might not have a disability says, hey, I want that same process too for me because it'll just make my job easier as well.
Absolutely. I mean, minority groups aren't just comprised of people of different races and different backgrounds and different orientations. It does include people with disabilities as well. So it is good to be shedding some sort of light on this. What kind of training do you offer to businesses that do want to be more inclusive but maybe don't know how?
Yeah, so when you think about being more inclusive in the workplace, I think a lot of companies They might have diversity, equity, and inclusion goals. A lot of times it might be a capital D and a small I, and we really like to help them capitalize that I with being more inclusive. And so we'll help them with training around for their frontline team members on disability awareness and working with people with disabilities, kind of inclusion success for supervisors and manager, training for human resources on accommodation, and additionally training for marketing on how to make sure you're getting the most internally and externally out of your inclusive progress that you make as an organization.
Now, Pride Industries did launch this one-of-a-kind employment helpline for people with disabilities. Talk to us about the helpline and how people can get more information.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I'd say since I've joined Pride about 4 years ago, I'll be having conversations with somebody and they'll let me know that they have a cousin, a sister, a brother, somebody in their family that has a disability, and they weren't aware of all the services that might be available to them. So we launched this helpline. It's 844-I-AM-ABLE or 844-426-2253. You can also visit iamable.com helpline. And once they call that line, we're going to help to make sure that they know what services are available to them to help them on that path towards employment, and then what jobs we can help connect them with in addition to those services that are available.
All right. Well, Matt Anderson, Vice President of Inclusive Talent Solutions, we appreciate you taking time to tell us about this new helpline. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.